Have you ever noticed that the most confident people in the room often end up eating lunch alone? It's not because they're mean or rude. It's actually the opposite. Their confidence creates this invisible wall that keeps people at a distance. And the crazy thing is, they have no idea it's happening. I used to think confidence was attractive to everyone, that if you believed in yourself, people would naturally gravitate toward you. But after years of observing how people interact, I realized something counterintuitive. Confidence doesn't always draw people closer. Sometimes it pushes them away. And it happens in ways that are so subtle, most confident people never even realize what's happening. So let's talk about why your confidence might be scaring people away, even though you're probably not doing anything wrong. The first thing to understand is that confidence creates distance. When you're completely sure of yourself, you're operating from a different place than most people. Most people are doubting themselves constantly. They're questioning their decisions, wondering if they said something stupid, replaying conversations in their head. But when you're confident, you're not doing that. You've already moved on. You've already decided what you think is right. This difference is actually really disorienting for people around you. Imagine you're in a conversation with someone who seems completely unbothered by what anyone thinks. They make a statement, they stand by it, and they don't second-guess themselves. Meanwhile, you're still processing whether your last comment was weird. That person isn't being cold or dismissive, but from your perspective, they seem untouchable. They seem like they don't need anything from you, and that's intimidating. Here's the psychological piece. People bond through vulnerability. We connect with each other through shared doubt and uncertainty. When you ask for advice, people feel needed. When you admit you're not sure about something, people feel like they can help. But when you seem like you have it all figured out, there's nothing to bond over. You've essentially told people, I don't need anything from you. And that, even if it's not intentional, creates distance. The second reason confidence scares people is that it highlights their insecurities. This is huge, and most confident people completely miss it. When you walk into a room feeling like you belong there, people who are unsure about themselves suddenly become very aware of how unsure they are. You're like a mirror reflecting back everything they're insecure about. It's not that you're doing anything to them. It's just that your presence makes their own self-doubt more obvious. Let me give you an example. Imagine a woman walks into a meeting room completely comfortable in her own skin. She sits down, she makes eye contact, she speaks her mind without hedging or apologizing. Meanwhile, there's another woman in that room who's been struggling with imposter syndrome. She's second-guessing whether she deserves to be there. When she sees the confident woman, it doesn't make her think, oh wow, I want to be like that. Instead, it makes her think, I'll never be like that. She has something I don't have. That gap between where she is and where the confident person is becomes this painful reminder of her own limitations. So the confident person walks away thinking, that woman barely said anything. I don't think she likes me. But what really happened is that the confident woman's presence made the insecure woman feel worse about herself. And sometimes, when people feel worse about themselves around you, they avoid you. Not because you're mean, but because you're a reminder of what they're not. The third thing is that confidence can read as judgment. Here's why. When you're confident, you have opinions. You make decisions quickly. You don't waffle back and forth. But people who are less confident often interpret that decisiveness as judgment. If you say, I prefer this, they hear, what you prefer is wrong. If you walk away from something you don't believe in, they think, she thinks I'm stupid for believing in that. This is partly projection. They're projecting their own insecurity onto your confidence. But it's also partly real. Sometimes confident people can come across as slightly dismissive of other people's choices because they're so sure about their own. You might not mean it that way, but if someone is already feeling judged by the world, a confident person's certainty can feel like one more judgment against them. The fourth reason is that confident people don't try hard to be liked. And that's actually what makes them intimidating. Most people are constantly doing small things to make other people like them. They're laughing at jokes that aren't that funny. They're complimenting things they don't really care about. They're adjusting their behavior based on who they're with. This constant effort to be likable is something most people do, so it goes unnoticed. But confident people don't do that as much. They're not trying to make everyone like them because they've already decided that's not worth their energy. Some people will like them and some won't, and they're okay with that. And here's what happens. People can sense that. They can sense that you're not trying to win them over, and that lack of effort reads as indifference. It reads as confidence, yes, but it also reads as, I don't really care what you think of me. For people who are used to having to earn approval, that's unsettling. It's like, if you don't care if they like you, why should they bother trying? And sometimes the energy that confident people give off, even though it's healthy and good, can make people feel like they're not worth the effort. The fifth reason is that confidence removes the possibility of help. People like to feel useful. We all do. But confident people seem like they don't need help. They've got it figured out. So the people around them lose that opportunity to be helpful, to be needed, to feel valuable in the relationship. When you're confident, you're self-sufficient. That's great for you, but it can make other people feel kind of useless. The sixth thing is that confident people have boundaries. And boundaries, while healthy, can feel like rejection to people who are used to enmeshment. If you're confident, you probably know where you end and other people begin. You can say no. You can walk away from situations that don't serve you. You don't overshare or use people as emotional dumping grounds. But people who are used to blurry boundaries, who use relationships to define themselves, can interpret your healthy boundaries as coldness. They might think, she doesn't like me, when really you just have self-respect. The seventh reason is that confident people don't provide constant reassurance. If you're secure in yourself, you probably don't need other people to tell you that you're doing a good job. You don't fish for compliments. You don't ask people repeatedly if they're mad at you. This is healthy, but it also means you're not providing something that insecure people are desperate for: constant validation. When you don't need that validation, people who do need it feel abandoned or dismissed. Now here's the important part. None of these things mean you should change who you are. Confidence is not a bad thing. Being secure in yourself is not a bad thing. The problem isn't confidence itself. The problem is when people misunderstand confidence as coldness or indifference, and when confident people don't realize they need to bridge that gap. Here's what confident people can do without losing their confidence. First, practice intentional vulnerability. This doesn't mean you have to doubt yourself or pretend to be weaker than you are. It means acknowledging when something is hard or when you're not sure about something. It means admitting when you were wrong. This gives other people permission to be human around you. Second, notice when people seem intimidated and gently reach out. You don't need to change your personality, but a simple conversation can work wonders. Hey, I noticed you've been quiet. What's going on? This tells people that you actually care about them, that they matter to you. Because sometimes confident people are so self-sufficient that they forget to check in on other people. Third, ask for help sometimes. Even if you don't need it, asking for help makes other people feel valuable. It creates connection. It tells people that you see them and that you think they have something to offer. Fourth, be aware of how your certainty might land on people. You can still have strong opinions. You can still be sure of what you believe. But you can also acknowledge that other people might believe different things, and that's okay. There's a difference between being confident and being dismissive. And finally, remember that intimidation is often about the other person's insecurity, not about you. You're not responsible for fixing how people feel about themselves, but you can be aware of it and respond with kindness. Because here's the truth. People don't avoid confident people because confidence is bad. They avoid them because they feel worse about themselves. And if you understand that, you can be confident and compassionate at the same time. The people who are truly powerful are the ones who are confident in themselves, but also genuinely interested in helping other people feel good about themselves. They're not trying so hard that they lose who they are, but they're also not so detached that people feel invisible. So if you're confident and you've noticed that people keep their distance, This isn't a sign that you need to become less confident. This is a sign that you need to become more aware of how your confidence affects the people around you, aware that some people are coming from a place of deep insecurity, and aware that you have the power to make people feel smaller or bigger just by how you show up. The choice is yours.